I'll call the meeting to order. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I hope everybody's had a chance to go over the October 18th minutes. So
We're gonna need to approve the 22nd too, right after that, we're gonna get that, please table from last meeting.
okay. We'll do the October 18th.
That's supposed to be October 4th. Hey, this agenda's a mess last time, isn't it?
I was gonna say, I thought it was the fourth.
Human errors.
I make a motion to approve it with the exception of changing the date to October 4th.
I'll second it.
Okay, got a motion on the floor and a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Motion passed. Okay, now the 22nd ones. Take a motion to approve those. You got a motion on the floor, I need a second.
I'll second
A second, any more discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Motion passed. Claims list.
On one of the claims that we've been holding off on, we've gotten a second bill from Jensen Rock and Sand with regard to basically the bill for the cost penalty that we assessed. I've contacted him again, said that if they feel we owe it, the best place is to file suit against us because we deducted that out for the cost penalty. And so if you hear anything or get an email or information like that, you know what's going on there.
For a majoring thing or?
No, for the, there was a $3,200 cost penalty, right, Penny, for basically being 16 days overdue. So we subtracted that out of our payment and we keep getting a bill for that amount, even though we.
Plus interest.
But I thought that Kenny kinda knew that.
Sure.
I just think they're up. I just told them that, I said that, you know, the county's position is they've already stated they're not going to pay that. And at the best, if they feel that we pay it rather than just continuously sending us a bill, because we're not going to pay it, is file suit against us, so.
Is that something we as a board need to recheck that bill in our meeting, never on
No.
record, or?
It's basically, when we paid that contract off, it was for the full amount less the $3,200 cost penalty, because basically in the contract it stated there was a $200, and correct me if I'm wrong, Penny, you know the contract better than I do, but there was a $200 per day cost penalty for not completing on time. And when they finalized things, there was originally more than 16 days, but I believe that
Backed off to 60.
to 16 days, so we deducted the $200 times 16, $3,200 for the cost penalty for the delay off the amount of the bill. And so that's what continues to keep coming in, is this bill. And
Did they acknowledge the fact that they were delinquent and the number of days? And then your response was in writing, phone, or email?
I think when, I did not negotiate anything with them with the cost
No, but I
penalty.
mean,
Yes, yeah, I've sent them a letter, and then on the second bill, I called them and said,
You, by phone?
yep, and on the first bill we got, for the $3,200, I sent a letter back stating that this was part of the cost penalty on the original contract. We don't feel that that's an amount owed. If you feel
And
that
that
we owe
message
it.
was conveyed in writing?
Yes,
Okay.
yep. And then the second bill we got, I just called them and said, hey, instead of sending us a bill every month for infinity, you think we owe it, just file suit and we'll let somebody decide rather than just continuously
Okay.
scratching or pulling the scab off, you know, each once a month, so. So if you hear anything like that or have any questions or get any questions regarding that, that's what's going on there, so.
Okay. Anything else on the claims? If not, I take a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve.
You got a motion on the floor and a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Motion passed. I think everybody knows everybody here. Does anybody have anything to say? All right, we'll go to number 6. Leah.
Hi guys. Okay. As you see, we've pretty much got the courtroom done. I don't know if you've all had a chance to have a look at it, but it looks pretty good. Becky Schilmer, thankfully, has been a great help. She's really good at design and things like that. It looks great. Just get a chance to look at it. One thing they'd like to do is they'd like to see if we can get bids to put different false ceilings, possibly, or take this false ceiling out and get some different lighting. They're looking at maybe fans to drop down on the pendulums that are there already, or whatever they call those things. I'm just requesting can I have permission to get bids to see what it would take to just either restore the ceiling or to put a different kind of false drop ceiling in. As far as that goes, that's all I wanted on that. Also, I've received a bid for the original where we got the stair covers, the rubber stair covers, everybody knows what I'm talking about. Because they keep coming up on the front, and we've had a few people, including Jim Spire, who like kind of tripped. And we don't want that to happen, but I cannot get them to stay down for the life of me. And they actually have something that they put on there now, it's an epoxy that actually bonds the nose of the step to the thing, which will keep it from coming up. To replace those is going to cost us about 45 to 5.
How much?
About $5,000. That's including labor, takedown, the epoxy, and the stairs. I really think that that's something we need to do before someone falls on their face. A couple of them are busted. In order to, we could, try to keep sticking them down, but even the ones that have stuck down do keep coming back up. I don't know if I peeled them all off and scraped them off, which I don't have time to do. Could I get them to stick? I don't know.
They've been there for quite a few years, haven't they?
About at least 10, because they were here when I got here, maybe longer, I don't know. The only problem with this is if we do this with the epoxy and we get them stuck, they're there forever. And if we ever want to, it's going to really be a mess if we ever want to restore back.
They will be similar to what we have, except that
Yes.
they will be state out.
Yes, they'll be new and so they'll be that really pretty gray for the first 5 years, and then they'll be like they
I
are.
make a motion that we make that change.
The only other option we would have would be to take them all off, but the reason we didn't do that before is because the black on black, it was hard for people to judge the distance, so we have to have something covered.
I think for public safety reasons, we should make that.
Okay, I got a motion on the floor. I'll get a second. Got a second. Any more discussion?
On the first issue with the ceiling, and what's
Got to
wrong
vote
with
on this first.
How many companies did you find that have that, just one?
For
Or?
the stair set,
Yeah.
the only one that went through so far was Riverside, because that's where we bought them from before we left Spoon. And they did a great job putting them in, but at that point, doing something with the nose wasn't really common practice, and I don't think anyone had the know-how to get them to stay for eternity. They're the only people that I've talked to so far. I can ask around and maybe take this, but,
I'm just kinda curious. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Opposed say nay. Motion passed.
On the matter with the ceiling, what's wrong with the ceiling?
nothing.
Why would we replace it?
So I've spent a lot of money making it look nice.
Basically, one thing is we're looking at lighting, and if we're gonna do the lighting, maybe do the ceiling, and we don't know why the drop ceiling was ever put in there. And Leah was gonna get up and look to see if, we just take the drop ceiling out and go back to the original one. I don't know how long that drop ceiling, cause a lot of places in the 50s and 60s dropped their ceilings just for aesthetics and energy.
Acoustics maybe?
Yeah, and so we're just checking into, cause somewhere down the road, we're gonna need to replace the lighting, like all of these lighting somewhere in it.
Or maybe some way down the road.
Right, we're just trying to figure out what the cost is, what's up there.
It ain't hurt nothing to get a cost. But
Yeah.
Phyllis might know when, was it way before your time even?
No, that's before my time, I'm
I think it would be nice if you would look into taking that drop ceiling out and going back to the original.
And it may have just been put in, like you said, for, you know, cause a lot of places in the fifties and sixties and seventies just went to paneling and drop ceilings, cause that's what everyone else was going
I'm sure there's
to.
gonna be a lot of holes in there.
Well, and that's what we're just gonna try and figure out is, look, if,
Why would it hurt to get a cost on it?
see what's up there, if it's, we know it's damaged in the one corner where it leaked, but from the drop ceiling down has all been repaired and fixed, so it's like, well, what else is up there and if it's even salvageable or not? Cause the original ceiling was a beautiful ceiling, it's kind of domed and,
How much is that gonna change the acoustics in there for,
actually acoustics are really good right now. I don't think it would change them that much, the,
cause these panels take out a lot of
when we
reverberation.
first, painted, or not we, I should say, when Leah and, Becky and the trustee and stuff first painted, and there was nothing on the walls and there were no curtains, it was really echoey, but once the curtains were put back up and everything was brought back in, it's really good right now, acoustics are really good, so I don't know if that extra 2 feet would cause problems or not, cause all the walls are still pretty bare, except for the curtains that were put up, so.
Also, you know, they make panels and things now that we'll be able to, right now it looks great, and it's just might even be something to be tabled just for a little while, until the next year's budget comes back, but.
I guess
The
I
other
don't.
thing Becky would like to know, if we could, the new curtains, like I said, if everyone would have a chance to look up there, I think it'd be great. But they need something like a Valance kind of deal, and that's something she's wondering if we can, that's something we're wondering if we can, maybe just go ahead and get those, cause that'll hide some flaws in the windows as well as probably help with this.
Well, I would suggest that maybe you look into it as you choose, you know. And then if there is an issue with lighting or ceiling, you know, you don't know what's above there. And generally, those that have been involved in remodeling and they remove something, they find a nightmare.
Yeah.
And it was put there for a reason. And it may have been acoustics, you may have had more carpeting on the floor at one time than you do now. But at any rate, get your information together, it isn't anything urgent, it needs to be put in the budget, and so that would be my suggestion. Do your homework and then come back
Okay,
when it can be handled through budget.
okay,
I guess I don't have a problem with it.
just get some numbers.
And I got a number of a guy who's got good ceiling, acoustic type ceiling.
Okay.
Just takes all the bounce out of the room.
We can look into that too. Well, one of the things is if we're gonna go ahead and replace, if we're gonna stay with the panels and we put new drops in, they do make some that are a little more fancy, and a little more expensive, of course. It's like a faux tin kind of color, and maybe not even the whole things, maybe just, you know, every panel or something, if there's a way to make it look nice. I don't know, I don't pretend to know anything about interior design, I'm just sort of,
I would just get a price on it, I guess, what's it gonna hurt?
we'll present again later when we know.
On the north side, that drop down and it cut off part of that nice stuff. I would paint it up there too, and,
Yeah, they cut off part of it when they put the drop ceiling down.
yeah.
Yeah, well, and yeah, that was kind of the other thing. I don't think, I remember one time that they actually had some sort of painting on the ceiling, and I don't think that's true. I think it's just cut off that one mural, but we'll see.
Yeah, the murals is cut off.
Yep.
It'd be nice to be able to pop that back. But we'll have a look at it and we'll get back to you when we know a little more information, because things are kind of busy right now. The other thing, I don't know. Car stops, keep them or ditch them? Do we replace the ones that are broken? Do we just let them get pushed off? I did get a number from Jensen, and I don't remember what that was right now, but it didn't seem very expensive actually. They said they'd bring us car stops. There's other things going on with it. But they'd bring and take out our old ones for like, I think it's $30 a piece or $25 a piece or something like that. I don't know if we wanna put more car stops in.
Down in the parking lot?
Yeah, all the bust up ones, but every year, then when we, every year, I don't know if they need to be pushed off the end, the only reason they'd be there, I guess, is if it's slippery, because we don't want people to go over the end, but then they keep getting pushed off and busted up by the blade.
I'll be around.
So there, do we have another solution?
I don't know what else you can use but those.
Yeah,
That would look any decent.
it's kind of a
Yeah.
nightmare with snow removal.
Maybe even maybe we should just blow up to that part, you know, maybe they can, maybe we can snow removal up to the last foot and then just snow blow off that or something, I'm not sure, but keep them from getting pushed back. So, can I replace the ones that broke?
I would think that's all just part of maintenance.
I would think so, yeah. And while you're out there replacing, why don't you drag them old picnic tables away?
Okay. But Kurt can probably, ideally.
Somebody should.
Well, since you're on that topic, I thought, did we not agree to get new picnic tables?
If
I
I
have,
was you,
I have some out at the landfill, I'm just gonna wait till spring though. No sense making them
Okay.
winter and take any unnecessary wear, so. I'm gonna put, they need to be assembled still too, and I just haven't had time to do that yet, but they're out there, they're nice aluminum ones.
Okay. I was just asking the
Yep.
other day, so.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna have to borrow Penny's dump truck and get rid of these tables, and
Which one's the big?
then those radiators too, cause I wanna get rid of those too, so.
To me, that's just maintenance.
Okay. And
All right?
Thank
could
you,
do
thank you
that
very
then.
much for your efforts.
Thanks, Beth.
Bathroom looks good downstairs too.
Oh, thanks,
Yeah,
I got a
guys.
little cleanup rate, that was really a project, I enjoyed that a lot, I wish I could do it in more places, so.
thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, number 7, commissioner complaint.
Scott,
Yeah.
my attorney would like me to call him when you're talking about that, is that okay with you?
Yeah.
I guess I don't.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear, what did you say?
My attorney would like to listen to the discussion about the commission complaint, so I was asking for permission to call him so he could listen on my phone.
No, never mind to me.
Hi, Christopher, they're getting ready to talk about the commission complaint. I'll just put it on speaker. Yeah. I think you're there. Can you hear anything?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't know who put it on the agenda, I guess.
I guess, maybe I did. I've had some calls wondering when we were gonna see an apology.
Let me address that now.
Please do.
Okay? I'm gonna stand up here a minute because I want to. In the interest of moving past this ongoing distraction, I have stated that I will own up to any wrongdoing on my part. However, I have some difficulty determining exactly what this commission wants me to apologize for and what law you say I violated. I'm referring now to number 2, the sanctions by this commission. My review of the events up to the alleged violation strongly suggests that if there were any violations of the open meeting rules, everyone in this commission is equally responsible. If you will recall, the commission openly discussed the results of the executive session immediately after coming out of that session. And after stating to the press and the visitors that the matter could only be discussed in executive session, you allowed what I believe was an illegal hearing. I asked this commission where and how you feel that I alone have violated any rules regarding executive session. I understand that the matter of my alleged violation was reviewed by independent counsel, and they did not find a breach of the open meeting rules or any violation of any law. The bottom line, if there was any violation of any rule or any leaked executive session information, then we all collectively violated the same rule during the open meeting following the executive session in question. Inasmuch as I took no independent action in the name of the commission, I need to be informed of the specific violation that I allegedly committed in the name of the commission. If such a violation can be identified, and if I acted alone, an apology will be forthcoming. The county policy, another allegation. The county policy initiated or put into effect earlier this year was not intended to muzzle any public official, to prevent his right to express his opinion. It was intended to limit discussion relating to sensitive material or sensitive actions relating to the policy and other legal issues that come before the commission. You cannot muzzle any public official from stating his opinion. I hope this will put this thing to rest. And you state that I violated a law. Bring it to me. Tell me what law I
I
violated.
didn't say that. 2 meetings ago, you said you would offer a public apology, and that's what I got the calls on for.
Here it is. You got it. This is my apology. Tell me what I did, I'll apologize.
Are you gonna report that, what the Borman said?
You can read his letter, I guess.
Yeah, read it, please.
Just basically to give everyone a background, I was in on all of these meetings and everything. So I conflicted myself out because there was a complaint, and it was given to Fouke County State's Attorney Tim Borman. And has everyone got a copy of this letter?
That's one from a while back.
Right.
It was mailed to everyone.
Right. And basically, my understanding is the complaint was with regard to a letter to the editor. And basically that's what Tim Borman's letter says, is the letter to the editor submitted and published by Commissioner Martin in 2 of the county newspapers and 1 outside newspaper has all the appearance of being an attempt to public shaming of the same board on which he serves due to the fact that the board did not vote the way he wanted. In addition, Ms. Call's complaint. And then the next paragraph is goes on to basically state Walworth County Handbook Section 2.33, it is absolutely forbidden to discuss the content and conversations which occurred during the course of executive session. And then the next paragraph is Commissioner Martin violated the trust of the Board of Commissioners by divulging executive session discussions for no other reason than seemingly hard feelings. For this reason, I am of further opinion that the Walworth County, to protect its own best interest, needs to consider some form of sanction or discipline for Commissioner Martin to reinforce the fact that rules, guidelines, and procedures are in place for a reason. That reason being to properly and efficiently conduct county business while attempting to keep personal business bias to a minimum. Basically, that's what it is.
Wouldn't you say that's a little hypocritical? After we came out of the executive session, you all participated in the violation of the rule by disclosing what was discussed in the executive session. Not I alone was there, all of you. So that's being a little bit hypocritical. And
What he is talking about was when you put it in the paper, and said, in executive session, we were told.
exactly, Dave, but that was prior to, the media was here.
That was
The television cameras were here. You talked about it to the media, along with all the rest of us. So why are you telling me that I was the only one that violated this rule?
Because you put it in the paper.
The news media was here. I'm not gonna debate this with you. If you wanna take this further, do it.
Well, here you said that you're gonna put an apology in the paper, and you haven't done that either.
It's in the paper today.
Well, that's surprising.
It's not surprising.
Yes, it is.
It might be surprising to you, but I'm still sorting through this. You made some serious allegations, and I think you went to an illegal hearing. And you knew it at the time, and you all participated. It might not be the end of that either. So this is what you're gonna get from me. You've got it. And I think you're a bunch of hypocrites for even suggesting that I alone did this. And when you talk about violation of a law, you know, that's sensitive. And saying that I'm above the law, it's not nice.
None of us are above the law. I'm just going by the recommendation from the Falk County Sheriff.
Jim, do you think that I don't have hundreds of people that support my position? Do you think that the handful of people that were here that day represent the county?
Yeah, I do.
Well, they do, but they're not all of them. There's hundreds of other people that have another point of view.
Mr. Martin, you're the one that called for that hearing today. Where was your, that day, where was your support at?
Well, that's another issue. But, you know, let's go here. Let's say this. We have right now, we have a motion that was tabled indefinitely. Let me make that motion now. Let me bring it up. I make the motion that was made at the time of that meeting. I made the motion that we were going to direct the state's attorney to write the letter.
Yeah, basically to follow the procedure required by
Yes,
statute.
I make that motion today. Bring it up again. Let's bring it off the table. I don't know how you do that. But let's bring it up and give
We
everybody
would have
another
to-
chance to look at it.
We would have to put it on the calendar to bring it up off the table.
Could be an old business.
I don't know the exact answer to that, honestly, I don't.
Well, we brought it up. It's a point right now. Where's my support? Let's find out where it is. Let's bring it up.
They're just, you're the one that called for that hearing that day. Where was your support?
I call
So
for
I've got to,
I call it for once more. I think there might have been some intimidation, unexpected intimidation.
We're getting off, the thing that we, number one, we're getting off task. Number two, with regard to that meeting, at that commission meeting, basically, this was something that had never been done before, and so what was created was, we need to make sure we do things right. Whether there was support there or not is irrelevant, because it wasn't going to be involving that support one way or another, because what the rules state under the code, it's doesn't work like that. And so we were getting off task a little bit whether there was support there or not, because realistically, it was not going to really be involving that support anyhow,
I'm not concerned
or
about
not
the
lack of support.
I'm not concerned about the support or the lack of support. I am asking, how do we bring that motion back to life? It was tabled indefinitely. I'm asking that we bring it off the table. And I'm asking we do it now.
If we can do it at this meeting, we would probably have to do it in old business, to follow the rules specifically.
Under old business.
Correct.
All right.
That's all.
Yes.
Well, I guess I'm not sure what more we're gonna discuss about that complaint, I guess. I don't, you know, I guess,
He
not
said he
sticking
has.
up for nobody, let me talk. I'm just saying, yes, he said he's gonna put it in the paper. Did he say when he was gonna put it in the paper? Did anybody tell him that he had to have it in the paper by X amount of time? But I'm just saying, I don't think nothing was ever said that you gotta put it in the paper next week. Was there? I'm just saying, so whenever he puts it in the paper, oh no.
Mr. Chairman, just for clarification, do you want me to have this, what I stated here, printed in the paper? Is that what you want?
That whole article, you mean?
Just what I read.
Yeah.
You already have it in the record on the video, so. I don't-
Well, I'm asking,
You don't need to put it in my account.
Mr. Seaman, do you want this in the paper?
As long as it's on TV, I don't care.
Is that a no?
I said I don't care whether you put it in the paper or not.
Do you want me to? Is this gonna be the end
I
of
don't
this
want,
thing?
I don't want you putting that in the paper.
Excuse me?
I don't want you putting that in the paper.
Okay, then my obligation to this commission is completed as far as I'm concerned.
Have you asked those guys?
Well, I can.
I've seen it just as much as you, I heard it just as much as you did. I'm satisfied.
I would say, if it's up to me, I would say, I would accept that as the apology. I think we got way more important business to do as a county commission than to decide whether that's an acceptable apology or not. How about let's get back to county business about budgets, roads, and other things, and discuss something that I don't think we need to be discussing. We got way more important county business to discuss than what's an acceptable apology or not. I accept the apology, let's move on. Be done with it, and let's move on.
All right, we will move on. Benny?
Good morning.
Benny?
Good morning, Penny.
Everybody get my monthly reports?
Yep.
Any questions on them? Okay, if that is no questions. My first thing is to ask for a motion to buy off the Centerville Township bid for the blade for next year.
You don't need a motion for that?
I'll make that motion.
We got a motion on the floor, I need a second.
I'll second.
Got a second. Any more discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Motion passed.
We told Becky that's her copy of the, oops, I'm sorry.
Is it gonna be cheaper?
No, I need that back, I gave you the wrong copy, I'm sorry. No. Same price. I just wanted to tell you, 310,277, with a buyback of 125,000.
Repeat that once more for me.
310,277
Centerville.
And the buyback is,
is 125,000. Let me double check that number, but I'm 99% sure.
and this is for a 3-year period?
7. This is the third one we're going after the 7-year
Okay, so
rotation.
we've had this road grader for 7 years?
No, we've had the one we're getting rid of, 5 years.
5 years.
This one will be going into the 7-year rotation.
Okay.
Now the buyback one, is that the one we're getting rid of now?
Yes, that would be the one, yes, and I'm gonna double check, but I'm sure we can take that buyback price off of the sale price. But we have time to discuss whether we wanna do that or if we want to surplus. Our surplus last year got $129,000. This is $125,000 buyback. So you can think about that and see which direction we wanna go with that before we actually get to that portion of the purchase.
That amounts to about 37,000 a year, then, is that right?
100% warranty. Just to give you a little information on all the test holes that were done down at Swan Creek.
95% of the test holes showed 10 to 12 inches of base on that road. There was only one hole that was 7 inches of base and one hole that was 24 inches of base. So we've got a good base on that road for this reconstruction. I haven't gotten the actual reports back from the engineer yet. But there was clay under the base, but the base is very good for that redo on that road.
I like that spot that's there by Daryl Thompson's, and that where it's,
Yeah, pushing,
yeah.
it's just because the road is wore out. That
I
had 12
just-
inches of base there.
It did.
Mhm.
I just didn't know if
This-
you were gonna have to put some fabric right in there or not.
No, they did not think so. What, if all the tests come back the way the engineer is anticipating, we won't even have to add gravel to it, because the base is as deep as it is, and it's in as good shape as it is. Maybe a little bit at the one part, and that's way west, that's right before, it's not that far from the recreation area, where the 7-inch hole was. But we did 26 test holes, 13 on each lane, that rotated from lane to lane, all the way from Itasca to the cattle guard, going into the Swan Creek recreation area. So we got good base all the way through. So I'm just waiting now for the engineering report to see, but it looks like we won't have to, unless they come up with something different, but my conversation with the engineer that was there, we won't even possibly will not have to add gravel to the grinding with as strong a base as we've got on there.
That's good.
But that was very good. That will decrease the cost of that project also, so.
If we did have, was our gravel good enough quality to do that with?
He took samples of that too, and that will be tested also. This is kind of a slow process, but it'll get there. But yeah, that, I'm waiting for those results too, so I can't. He thought it looked good, but that's just looking at it. They have to put it through all their tests, so, and those take time. Marty and I leave today for Region 8 out in Rapid. We'll be gone the rest of the week. Just giving you a heads up, we're having some work done on the Western Star. So you're gonna be seeing some pretty good size bills coming through here, so I wanted to give you a heads up, so you don't have a heart attack and see it.
One of the
Okay?
trucks, gravel truck.
What do you,
We had some work done on the transmission, and that was a little over 4,000. Right now, it's at Aberdeen. There's some intake issues that have to be repaired. They do call a TA1 inspection, and that is free. And anything that they find, it's actually a DOT over the road inspection, so it's very thorough. But we have some intake issues that need to be fixed, and that's gonna be between probably 4,000 and 6,000. But they will repair them, and we'll get it back on the road. But I just wanted to give you a heads up, so.
this is on what equipment?
One of our semis, our
I mean, about $10,000.
Western Star.
Could
Oh,
be.
yeah,
Do you have to be DOT inspected every year like we do?
no. No. And another thing with this TA inspection, that's their terminology for it, is they will come out and inspect all of our equipment for free. Buffalo will. And they see things that you commonly don't look for. And just kind of get you a heads up of a possible issue that can be repaired before, we're trying to be proactive here, not reactive. And so that's what we're working on right now.
What year is that truck?
94, I believe, Scott, if my memory serves me right.
So it's not that new anymore.
No.
It's over 20 years old.
Yeah, but it's got less than 1 million miles on it, and these are notoriously good engines. They will last up to 3 million.
Did we get that new? Did we get that new?
You know, Jim, I don't know. I don't think we did. I'd have to go back and look. I think it was used when we bought it. I'm not sure, but I don't believe it was new. I do know a new one costs $117,000. And one of our neighboring counties bought one, it's already been in the shop. We've only had it for 2 months, so new isn't always the answer either.
You, on those, do you have the warranty on those, like, what's the
No,
warranty?
these are out of warranty.
No, but new ones.
Oh, the new ones, I don't know what kind of warranty comes with that. I would assume there's, I haven't seen the bid, so I don't know what the warranty is, but I'm sure there is a warranty on them, but, it's just keeping you up to date on what we're doing, so,
What's the year on the other one, do you have it close?
9, I believe, 2009, on the Sterling, I believe it's 2009. But I might be wrong, it might be 2006, but
Close enough.
it's a 2000 something. So that's, wanted to give you a heads up on that, so those bills will be coming in.
Okay.
That's all I have. Anybody have anything?
I got a question for you.
Okay.
What can we do to cut out some of these washboards? I know it's probably not anything we can do now, but is there a plan to cut them out in the spring, or to, do we need to, what can we do to cut out washboards?
Make it rain. And then we can cut them out. I am
'Cause they're
looking at
getting,
trying
they're
some,
getting really bad.
oh yeah, they're hauling, it's harvest.
I
They're
know.
gonna be bad.
So is it
That's
really
just
doing any good
the time of the year.
to even blade this time of the year?
Well, now that we got, even this little bit of moisture that we got, that makes a difference.
'Cause I
But-
know I've been hauling and
Yeah.
it's,
I know, it's bouncing.
I'll take you for a ride in the truck
You don't need
once.
to, I've been on.
Would it make any sense to water a little bit?
Well,
We got a water truck,
That-
don't we?
yeah.
I was gonna bring up the same thing.
that's the next thing, but again, we can water it, we can cut them down, and 2 days later, they're gonna be the same way they are right now. We're gonna try some stabilizer next spring, when we start cutting out, washboards, where we know what the washboards are and where there are issues. And we're gonna cut them, we're gonna rip the road, we're gonna cut them, we're gonna put stabilizer in them, and see if that will help
Is that that stuff
eliminate.
that they had down at,
That's one company. I am going to ask both companies that sell this base one is what it's called, to come and give you their information. If that's all right for you guys, so that you have the same information I do, if that'll work.
Just a question, I mean, let's just say right now, if you rip out a road open right there, there's moisture down below the top, isn't there?
Not a lot.
No,
No, we haven't had enough rain. Not a lot.
do they need to be reformed to get more of a crown in there, or would that help out?
That doesn't make a difference with washboards. Washboards are gonna happen on a gravel road. And I did talk to the one company, and he said, he will point blank tell you, there is no cure for washboards. And he sells the product. It can help, so I want to try something that will help, and then we'll, if it appears to work, or whatever we need to do to continue to work with it, we'll keep trying.
That's that stabilizer that we looked at in Sioux
Mhm.
Falls.
Yeah.
So if
Some
you
people
go
call it-
into, if we go into the winter without moisture, there are some roads that are really bad and traveled a lot
Yeah,
during the winter.
then we'll use the water
Would you
truck.
then consider the water and
Yes.
taking care of them?
Yes. Yeah, we'll get those, once harvest is over with, and the traffic is 12 months out of the year now, it's not just harvest anymore. But the heavy traffic is right now, when you're in the fields. So, yes, we will use the water truck and we will cut them down as much as we can and get them packed in. Everybody's got to walk and roll, so we'll do our best to eliminate them. But you have to realize,
I didn't know if there was, if we could budget for,
well, I've got it budgeted for next year to try these stabilizers. There's a difference in cost from each one, but I want them to present their product to you guys.
you know, they said that they would come up and demonstrate it.
Mhm. And so will the other one. So it's just two different companies selling basically the same product. but they each have their own way of presenting their information, so. If it's all right with you, I will set up a time and have them come and present their,
I think we definitely need to do something with our roads.
well, yes, I agree with that. But again, they are gravel roads and it is hard.
I
And
realize
everybody's
that,
hitting their brakes and stepping on the gas
but,
pedal.
like right now, we're blading them and one truck goes by and you
Yeah.
might as well not even blade.
No, well, it's not quite that bad, but yes, I
Yeah,
understand
it
what you're
is,
saying.
cause I went over.
Were you the one truck that came by after they bladed it?
I came by right after, not long after it was
Okay.
bladed, and I was probably the second or third truck through, and it was like, it never got bladed in the first place.
It's tough, those trucks are heavy and they create problems.
So, I was just wondering, for
That's
future
my answer,
reference.
we're trying different products, to see if we can, we will never eliminate them on gravel, but to help reduce them and minimize them, yes.
Where we know they've been there for years,
Mhm. Yep,
okay?
okay.
Is there one thing, Penny, has anybody been calling you about that road out there? I don't know the number of it, by Jerry Olson out there?
No, Claude called and asked to have a driver bladed, but nobody.
No, about
Ronnie
the
was on it
speeding part of it.
yesterday.
No, about the speeding part of it.
Oh, the speeding? No, we have an issue,
Yeah. Sometimes.
okay, are we patrolling that at all?
Yep.
Okay,
So I was just wondering if anybody called you
no,
about a speed limit sign or something on that road.
no. It's signed 35 miles an hour. So, is it a lot worse than that?
No, on the other end,
Oh, on the north end, that's 45, I believe.
55.
Is it 50
Well,
or
45.
45, yeah. So we got speeding on that, okay. Well, I'm requesting you to patrol it when you can. It goes to Mobridge, it's just a little different jog.
Okay. Anybody else have anything for Penny? Thank you.
Huh? The one that goes by the motel.
Yeah, right on to
On straight west.
Okay.
It's County Road 319.
I don't know which ones are which.
Thanks
Are
for
you
that.
for the number?
319.
Thanks, Penny.
Okay, thank you.
I assume they had all these other numbers before they had these streets and avenues numbered.
Yeah, the road's west of Selby.
Road
Brian.
goes by the motel.
I think everybody got a copy of my report. Anybody have any questions about anything on there? About anything in general? What was that?
Did you give them?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I don't think I emailed you one though, Becky. You want me to do that when I get back? Okay. Nobody has anything, that's all I got for right now. We'll talk about some other stuff in old business. So, and if you end up having any questions about the report, as always, give me a call or stop on out and we'll talk about it.
You're pretty boring this one.
I am, yeah.
Anybody have anything for Ryan?
Nope.
Thanks, Ryan.
Thank you.
Josh?
Morning.
Morning, Josh.
mailed this one out, I don't know if someone got it, but I brought copies up to the auditor's office with your packets, so hopefully you got them.
The numbers are pretty impressive, considering you've been able to do it with the facilities that you have, and do it well.
We tried.
That's maximizing the use of your facilities. That's good.
Thank you.
Do you expect that to continue, Josh, the numbers that we did?
Yeah, because the
Between-
US Marshals picked up on.
And the US Marshals came back, so their numbers have been significant. You know, their billable last month was around 20 grand, so, just for them. And their numbers are staying consistent, so.
Let me add that this might be possible because the inmates from Walworth County are fewer.
We have roughly
What's their average?
6 or 7 that are Walworth County right now.
Used to have somewhere around 16 to 18. So they're shorter sentences, and because you have fewer Walworth County inmates, that provides additional space for,
Yeah, we
Other
utilize
correct.
the
That's
extra
my
space.
point.
Yeah, we utilize the extra space for the counties and the marshals.
And we don't keep a lot of like you said, long-term, we just don't have those numbers like,
They're not in custody as long,
Yeah.
some, some are, but not as many.
you get up, very rarely do we get past 60 days in custody.
Yeah, we got one serving time, I think he's got 17 days to do. It's not a real.
Yeah, we don't get past 60 much. When we get past 60, they go to the penitentiary.
and I think all this was projected back 2 years ago when they had the Criminal Justice Initiative in South Dakota.
Yeah, smaller
Okay.
sentences to
Yes.
the,
They anticipated this would happen.
yes, because we're not sending this. I just think the numbers that we had thought maybe on the county level would be a lot greater, but they're not,
It hasn't happened.
no.
So in all probability, they knew what they were talking about, huh?
On the number of inmates, yes. I'll go that far.
Okay.
Hey Josh, just looking at your report a little bit, I mean, I guess off the top of my head, I don't, what you have in for food next year in your budget, I mean, you must be close already this year, aren't you? On being over? Yeah, this year we're over. And next year, I think we added, was it 3? To it, or 5, I don't remember, 5. We made it 30, I believe.
So these are through last month.
Yes, it should be. Yeah, yep. The food one, we gotta get updated yet.
I figure you're not at $1.37.
No, it's gonna be up a little bit.
I got it at about 308.
I don't know if it'll be that high.
If you take what you spent in groceries compared to how many meals you've done, it comes out to 308.
Yeah, like I said, I gotta get that one figured out yet. So I'm missing 3 months in there. Grocery one, just the black page.
Per meal cost,
Yeah.
you got it at $1.34.
Yeah, it's gone up from that, obviously.
I got it more than half of that, I got it at 308. You take what you spent so far this year.
the taxes. But any, the taxes are.
Now, the money collected for housing out-of-county inmates goes to the general fund. And your budget then does have nothing to do with the general fund. But I would like to just caution you not to get too overzealous and overcrowd the jail and create any liability issues.
No.
Okay, so you're on top of that, huh?
Yep.
And it's been mainly male adults.
Because we've turned-
Almost all the juveniles we're sending somewhere else, just because the numbers of adult inmates is high, wouldn't you say, Josh? I don't think we've housed a juvenile here for, other than maybe 12 hours to 18 hours before they go somewhere else.
Yeah.
So then, the cells that were mainly juvenile cells on the second floor,
I'm using as overflow, correct?
okay,
So
so
that's-
now, what about the shower, the metal shower? Have you, that was always an issue. Would there be any merit to doing some changes there?
We're
Yeah,
in the
I think so.
process of making a repair list of stuff that we need to work
Okay.
on, there's some plumbing issues, and, yeah, we're getting a repair list put together. You know, because we cabled that fire escape and all that stuff, we make the list of things that should get done if we're gonna keep what we got, so that need to be done.
My point is this, that if you have an issue that would present a liability, you should not be using that cell,
Yeah, correct.
okay?
No, we gotta have the facilities working in there in order to house people in there, so.
You've got some problems with toilets and stuff like that, don't you?
Yeah, and they're coming, actually, we got plumbers coming this week, had to order some parts to get a couple of them, working a little better. There was some,
And you have
Parts
lighting
that
problems
need-
too that you're facing too.
That cam wall is working on, yes.
Okay. Putting new fixtures in or something, or what are we doing?
Yes, replacing what's there as far as the fixture,
Okay,
going with an updated fixture.
okay.
So, because right now the fixture's obsolete and it keeps burning out, it keeps blowing bulbs, so they recommend replacing it.
Okay, thanks.
Anybody else, anything else?
I was just gonna add one more thing, you know, when you get to putting these repair items on your list, that will all come to the commission before you actually take any action on it.
I'll address it with the commission.
I'm thinking about the roof issue several months ago,
Sure.
yeah,
when there was a bid for $20-some thousand to replace a roof.
Yep.
It was leaking because of an air conditioner problem. That would have been a huge mistake to go ahead with that unless it was further
Well,
investigated.
they repaired the air conditioner, but I'm being told there is still a leak coming from inside there, there's still water coming in on that same area. So, I don't know if it's totally done yet. We gotta relook at it.
The point is that, you know, all these repairs, I don't know where the limit is and how much you can spend on your own.
Well, the thing of it is,
I guess if
that,
it's
that
in-
kind of money I would come to the commission anyway.
I guess if it's in your budget,
To
you
me,
can
that's a
spend it.
major repair.
Yeah, exactly.
So, and I too am glad we looked into it, but now it hasn't been as bad lately, but it's still leaking in the same spot. We haven't, and we gotta look at something else now.
Need to follow up on it. Well, I'm not suggesting you gotta come here when you wanna replace a stool or something like that. You know.
No, I understand.
Okay.
I understand.
I have nothing.
Okay. Second bullet item there is, we moved Leander Smith to a full-time position, Becky had 1521, it's 1471, starting for that one.
That's what she makes now.
Yep. There won't be,
There won't be a change until she's after probation,
yeah,
which is.
so it'll relatively stay the same,
1471.
1471. Thank you though.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, got a motion on the floor, I need a second.
I'll second.
Got a second, any more discussion?
Has she been part-time or she new?
She's been part-time.
She's part-time
Been
prior.
part-time.
For like less than a month.
Yeah, barely.
So she is.
Yeah.
Any more discussion? Hear none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay, motion passed.
Thank you for your time, sir.
Thank you. Okay, let's go on to number 11. Discussion regarding the timesheet deadline. I think we might have talked something more on that before, but to me, if when the timesheets are supposed to be in and they're not in, I guess, I don't know why anybody should go chase them down. To me, I think it should be, they should get rolled over to the next pay period. If you're not on time, unless there's a legit reason, I don't know how the rest of you feel, but,
I agree.
I mean, apparently it must
What's
be
going on?
happening.
You guys have any idea what they're talking about?
Is it my office? I don't know.
Well, the cutoff for payroll was the 8th, and we got some timesheets not until the 12th, and we had to have their paychecks in by the 14th. So changing it, we were trying to get us more time to process it, but instead, it gave us less time. Because they're not handing their sheets in, we gotta go ask for them multiple times. And we would like to just set a deadline so that everybody gets their timesheets in a timely manner, so we have time to process their paychecks.
Do you go off by the time card downstairs, on the time clock?
Both what they write and what that prints.
These, are you talking about October? The 8th of October was a Saturday, and you didn't get some until the following Wednesday. Now, were these timesheets that were late, were they part-time people or full-time people?
Full-time.
Full-time?
I think that she's talking about my office, and that Monday was a holiday, and Tuesday I took Norman to, a doctor appointment, so I wasn't in until Wednesday to sign their timesheets.
There was more than just your office.
That was the situation with my office.
Well, perhaps, if Monday was a holiday, then Tuesday would have been the cutoff. And should have been done on Tuesday.
And I wasn't.
Unless there's special circumstances, but there's a policy, isn't there? As to
Ryan,
when
does
you,
it specifically address it?
Becky, could we get those, you know, those sheets from the time clock?
Mhm.
Could we get those every week like we used to? Is that, that's not hard, is it?
No.
That would help us too, so. But I think if you're talking about the ones from my office, that's what happened that time, is I wasn't there to sign theirs or to hand mine in either, so apologize for that.
It was more than just your office.
Well, the thing is, we work till 5 o'clock on Friday, that's the 7th, Saturday's the 8th, that's cut off. Why not turn them in when you're leaving work on Friday? I guess I don't understand that part.
that Monday was a holiday, but Tuesday,
Yeah, I know, but why not turn them in on Friday at end of workday?
Plus, turn them in after everybody clocks out on Friday night, which wouldn't make sense.
who's here to receive it?
Well, if you turn them in, she should get them Tuesday morning anyway.
Yeah, I don't understand, if you're gonna wait till 5 o'clock to fill it out, everybody's gonna be gone by then, won't they? To hand them in, or?
They should have them filled out before end of workday. I would think, I don't know, I think.
I don't know,
getting a
I've
lot
never
more
done it before,
complicated
I'm
than
just
it
questioning,
needs
I'm
to.
asking.
Yeah,
I understand what Penny's saying, I mean, if she got hers done on Friday, well, then you surely should have them done on Tuesday unless circumstances like Deb said, I mean,
You know,
but
What do you want
I
to
just
say,
think you gotta,
June, the
just gotta work
business
harder
day
on it, I guess.
following?
Even 5, the business day
Five
following would be
business day
fine.
following the cutoff?
So what do you guys think of, if it keeps happening, I mean, don't you think that's what it should be, is just rolled over to the next pay period instead of?
It's not the first time it
No,
happens.
I'm just
It happens
saying.
every pay period. That's why.
I think it needs to be,
It gets a little drastic,
Yeah.
what's drastic?
not getting someone paid for their 2-week time period.
Yeah, and I don't wanna do that.
Well, that's what I'm saying, is if you're gonna make a rule, I'll tell you right now, you're gonna have a revolt from my staff.
Well, I bet it won't
I
happen very
think,
often.
well, I'm just saying, but I think you're making a mountain out of a molehill with regard to my staff. If it was due on the 8th and Monday was a holiday, basically they were 24 hours late. And I don't even know if it was my employees or not, but I just think you guys are making a bigger deal than what it is.
Yeah, I think that it was brought up and maybe it'll get better now.
Yeah,
you know, I mean, go ahead.
but yeah, I'm just saying is, I would not recommend, at least for my staff, not paying them for the 2 weeks they worked, because their time card's in late. I think you're trying to kill a fly with a stick of dynamite, at least for my employees, that's what they're gonna say.
Just a memo then, that everybody should try to have it in by 5 o'clock the business day after the cutoff, as a courtesy issue.
You
Yeah,
might
I
wanna
agree that-
list the cutoff dates
We'll just,
too.
you have to just keep working on it, but I think that
They're gonna-
penalty.
Yeah, I mean, should be the 8th and the 23rd
Yeah,
every
that needs
month,
to
you
be
know.
included with that, so everybody is on the same page with everything.
I mean, that's fine, but I mean, I guess if it keeps happening,
Yeah, we'll
Come
have
up-
to address it,
come up
I
with a
agree.
solution
They
then.
right, but I think the not paying them is a little drastic.
any other discussion on that?
How many are not using time clocks?
Everybody that's supposed to be is.
Back in the jails,
Hmm?
put them back in the jail.
Anything else on that matter? Here now, we'll move on to number 12.
We got a resolution back from City of Mobridge basically stating that they do not want to do their own, they wanna do the consolidated between the city and county. Which is basically what their requirement is, if that's what they want. I guess our question is, do you want to accept that and do them consolidated, or say, no, you need to do your own board before you do a county board?
I would suggest they do their own. Like Lennon does. And Acaskia does their own now too, don't they?
And Java.
And Java.
Selby doesn't do it. Selby?
I haven't heard from Selby yet, I did send them, I think we talked about that, I sent both Mulbridge and Selby a email that said we had to hear from them by November, otherwise they would have to do their own. If they didn't want to, they had to present a resolution that the board had to, agree with in order to do consolidated boards, and I haven't heard anything back from Selby either way.
What's the deadline, Deb, do you know?
I think it, yeah, I'm not, I have to check for sure, I think it's the second meeting in November. That we have to have either agreed that we're gonna do consolidated, or else they're just gonna have to do their own.
Well, I'll be honest, I was the one on the Selby board when we voted it off, of doing it. I didn't see the reason why the city should do it. And not the county.
So what do you want to do at Mobridge then? Right now, they wanna do a consolidated, it's up to you guys whether you want to accept that or not. We've been doing consolidated.
being we gave them the option, I guess we gotta take the resolution, being we gave them the option of,
Well, technically, the way it's been going is, every year you're supposed to say, we want to opt out of doing our own and do it as a consolidated. And then finally, we have started notifying them saying, in order for you to not do your own, you have to pass a resolution stating you don't want to do your own, but you want to act as a consolidated board. And then the county has to agree to act as a consolidated board for the city and the county. So the city of Mobridge has done what they're required to do, and now it's up to you to say whether you want them to operate as their own before they come to us, or we are a consolidated board as we've been operating.
I don't think so. I think that the city of Mobridge can elect to do their own, but if they don't, the county will do it.
Correct.
They have the option, we have no option. We
I-
must do it, if they don't do it, then we do it,
We have to act as an appeal board no matter what,
yes.
but we do not have to act as a consolidated along with them. So basically, normally you'd have your first appeal would be to the city. Then if you don't like the city's decision, then you appeal to the county. But now we're acting, as we've done over the last 4 years, as a consolidated board, so you eliminate that city. But what the city is supposed to be doing is rather, it's just been by default.
Are you sure about that? I don't think you're right on that. I think the city may if they choose to, but they don't have to.
I could be wrong, do you know, Deb?
I'll go see if I can find that law.
They
I might
may
be
if they
wrong.
choose to, but they don't have to do it. And if they don't do it, then the county must do it. The
Correct.
county oversees it anyway.
Correct.
The other thing I would have a question on, are the records available to the city? At one time, we talked about charging a fee for every record, copy of every record.
I would assume that if the city was going to do theirs, they would have to get access to all of that information.
What about an individual? Can the individual get access to that record without paying a fee?
I bet you're gonna have to pay a fee, as the way the policy is now for copies.
There's a right to know.
Absolutely, all that's
not-
public.
We can't do that.
That goes back to our public information, is everything that we have is public information. And we can charge to make copies of it, but we can't withhold public information.
Exactly, but if I come in here to get a record, do I take the record?
No, you'll have to pay for a copy of it.
I don't think so. I don't think that's proper.
That's what
Should
you as a
not
group,
happen. Anybody coming in here should be able to get any record he wants.
at no cost. That's a decision you guys have to make.
Well, put it online, like most everybody else does, and then it can be accessed.
That's a decision this group has to make. I can't make that decision for you.
Well, I got a question for you, Jamie. on that.
Public access to information is what you decide as a group, and what the cost is going to be associated with it, if there is any. That's what I can't decide that for you.
That's
But,
already been decided by court.
correct,
We have access to any public information, and anything in here,
correct,
except from your office, is public information.
correct. That's exactly right. But what we're doing is what I think you don't agree with is we're charging a cost to produce that information for an individual who wants to take it with them.
You want to charge a copy fee.
Well, that's what we've been doing.
Mobridge
but-
comes in here with 1,900 property requests. You want to charge them 1,900 times 5 for pages?
I'm saying that's what you as a group decided to do right now. And that's a decision I can't make. But right now, if I come in and ask for a copy of a deed or something like that, there's a cost associated with that. And I think that's set by statute in the Register of Deeds. But in Equalization or Treasurer's Office, I think this group said that there's going to be a fee associated with producing that document. If they want to come in and look at it, that's free, but if they want a copy of it to take with, we're going to charge them
I
a fee.
think we rejected that.
I think everybody's charging fees right now.
It's $1 per page.
Oh, my God.
what we get over then is we get pretty much the copy of what everybody's assessment is, and then we go down through the list. And anybody that wants to appeal it, they come in and they can look at the whole list of what everybody's property was assessed at. So we have that information in Glenham.
Do you have the information as to square feet, date of construction, improvements? How can you make a decision? How can you decide based on just what the final numbers are, that whether it's correct or not? How can you do that?
See, my thing with that is, that's why, I'll be honest, that's why when I was sitting on the city council, that's why I looked at them and said, well, this is crazy. I says, what if on the city council, the property was at $50,000 and us on the board there in Selby says, we're gonna knock it down to 25,000. So, well, if that's not right, then the commission here has to readjust that. And I know another reason why we did it is because, you know, not everybody can just, at that rate, then you'd go to your city, then you'd go to the county. If you're still not satisfied, you go to Pier. Not everybody's got three different days. To me, what the city does, that's, we still gotta make that final decision. Am I correct or not? No matter what the city, Glenham does, Casca does, doesn't matter. I mean, this,
You can appeal it to the next level, that's right. You have the city level, if the city board is acting, then you have the county level. If you don't like the county, then you appeal it to the state. That is correct. Those are your,
Except that what the equalization board and the city has to be approved by the county.
right.
Otherwise, it's insignificant.
correct.
So you look at it anyway, and then you make your determination here, like in your situation.
So that's why I'm not understanding yet why the county just doesn't do it and why the cities do it. I guess I've never understood why the city should be doing that.
Because you get one more level of appeal, basically. You're doing it at the lowest level.
I think that's the point is, and it's more of a point in a county where there's a lot of organized townships. So that was the thought process, is that you can first appeal to your township board. This county just doesn't have any townships, they only have organized towns. So your first appeal was to your township board, and then if you did not agree with what your township board said, then you could take it to the county. Then if you did not agree with what the county board did, then you could take it to the state. So it was an effort to keep your appeal as local as possible.
Well, that's not exactly true either. That you still have to approve any action that the city equalization board does. The county still approves it, and the county has the final word until it's appealed to the state. Now, I understand why the county does it that way, or why it's set up that way, because you could have an entity within the county that would just lower property values on purpose to avoid that entity from paying their fair share of taxes, like a Casco or like Glenham. You get together with a county board or a township or a entity, city entity, and they all get together and say, hey, we're just gonna drop the value of this and let somebody else pay the tax on it. That's why the county has that authority. It's not, well, that's the reason.
And what the statute says is, the governing boards of any county, municipality, school, or township may agree by resolution to consolidate the local board of equalization with the county board, no later than the second Tuesday of November. So that's what they've done, and so we're gonna act as a consolidated for the city of Northridge.
Done deal. And you have no option, that's what you do. But I hope that we can address this dollar per page charge for any information coming out of this office, or this courthouse. I think that's not right, it's not fair to the taxpayers. It doesn't, all you're talking about is a copy machine and paper. I can make my own copies.
I know where that came from, was when we had those guys trying to get all the information that they was gonna resell to other entities. That's where we discussed that, and that's where that came from. We should have changed that wording in there
So
for
let's say that your taxes.
outside the county people.
I don't think you can do that. I mean, you gotta treat everybody the same, where you, if you say, well, if you live in the county, you can get one rate, and if you don't live in the county, you get another rate. I don't know if we can legally do that, because then we're barring access to information, for the same cost that it would cost the normal person.
I know we've talked about this a lot of times, but this is public information, and it must be available to the public. Public means everybody.
So what if somebody comes in and wants a copy of every record in there, we're just gonna give it to them and,
It should be online.
but it's
They
not,
can get it.
so therefore.
Well, the equalization
Our time
stuff will
needs to
be
be-
online now
It is
with
on.
Beacon, and they can get a subscription to Beacon or access all of that.
It is
Or a
online.
daily subscription and
It's
access.
online. Problem solved.
It's,
But
it's
through
online
Beacon.
with Beacon, and they're referred to Beacon, and, they can look up a property by address, legal description, or record number. It'll have the sketch, the pictures, square feet, age, that kind of stuff.
But it's not
All
for
pertinent
free.
information.
But it's not free.
That's right, it's not free.
It's- but you have to go through Beacon, you can do it right on their website. It's, $15 for 24 hours, or $50 for a month, or $550 for a year. But I will tell you that when somebody comes into my office at equalization time, and they want copies of their records and stuff like that, I never charge those people, never. When they're getting their information for themselves or for an appeal, I don't charge them for what I give them.
What's the difference?
Because I think when they're coming in for an appeal, it's a process that's required by law, and I think that that is public information. As a courtesy to those who are appealing, I've not charged them for their information.
Deb, how can you come in for an appeal of your property and not look at other similar properties?
Oh, they do look at other properties.
So do they get those copies free of charge
If they're
also?
gonna use them in their appeal, I have given them to them.
So therefore, if I come in for my property, I then legitimately can request copies of everybody's.
I might not give you a copy of
Well, what would be the
everybody's.
difference?
I would have you point out some comparable properties to me. I mean,
It's
I can
immaterial.
charge
If
them,
I-
I can
Yeah, we are
charge
getting
them,
a
I
little off task,
just did it as a
but- Went to-
courtesy for their own appeal, that they shouldn't, when they're working on an appeal, you know.
I don't think it should be up to you to decide who you're gonna charge and who you're not gonna
You
charge.
could be right.
And if I come in and you don't charge me, and I'm using it for an appeal, my appeal is useless unless I can compare it to other
Where do
properties.
you see this on there? Can't we go?
So then,
Well, we're all talking about the resolution.
so then in order for me to do
Equalization,
that, I
mean,
need to
think
look
this
at
is all
all
part
the
of it, but-
properties. I tell you, how do you know that I don't need to?
Well, let's just get back to this Mowbridge here.
So basically, Mowbridge is not going to act as their own board, and we are gonna be a consolidated board for the city of Mowbridge at equalization time. To, basically, this is to provide you notification of it, so.
Okay.
Do they have to sign that resolution also?
They were not to do nothing. Just-
After reading that, no. They just tell us that they don't wanna act as their own.
Okay. All right, we'll move on to 13 regarding meeting dates in November.
We have to meet after the election. And Friday is Veterans Day, so it will have to be, I'm requesting Thursday.
The third,
No, this would be the
Yeah.
10th.
11th?
10th.
10th, okay.
The other option would be to meet on the 1st and then have a special meeting after the election, just for the cameras. But I think it would be better just to
We'll
have the
do it on the
meeting on the
10th, huh?
10th. Mhm.
Go to the 10th, and then the second one, go back to the 22nd.
That's up to you guys.
Is that fine with you guys?
Yep.
Okay. Okay, number 14. Need a motion to approve the wage of,
Adriana?
you better off not saying it, your name.
I so moved.
Yeah, you got a motion on the floor, I need a second.
I'll second.
Got a second, any more discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay, motion passed. Old business,
I would like to bring up Molstead real quick before any others. I did get two contractors to go out and take a look at that bathhouse. Both of theirs was to not put any money in it and remove the walls, but leave the floor there and put up an overhang over it to still use the cement, but remove the walls for safety purposes. That was the two contractors I got. One was Lynn Spirey and the other was Marion Schlomer. Thank you.
Ron, what does that, historical thing say?
Well, Molstead Lake itself is listed on the National Register of Historic Places. It is an active listing. You can get information from the State Historic Preservation Office where it designates the bathhouse, 3 fire pits, and the obelisk as, they designated out as specific features that were taken into consideration when listing that property on the National Register.
so then by rights you shouldn't, they either gotta be fixed, correct?
Fire pits are already removed.
The law on that, I've done a little bit, and then might be, Jamie might have an opinion or might wanna get an opinion on it too, but, there's, generally you have to go through a specific process if you're going to do, if you're gonna try and tear it down. And, even renovation, we should probably get our ducks in a row and make sure we're doing everything. There was a specific work order for the construction of it, so if we're gonna do a renovation, it would probably be a good idea to figure out what that WPA work order was and try to renovate to the specifications outlined therein. That'd be my suggestion. Before we do anything, we need to make sure we're going through the proper channels.
Or get it removed from the registry.
That's a board decision, if that's something you wanna pursue. I mean, either way, I think we'll have to do the groundwork, and the groundwork will be similar, in finding out exactly what we can do. If there's laws that preclude us from doing any removal, or if we just have to go through the appropriate channels, so, that's something we can.
I think a lot of us just notice that we have to provide notice that if we're gonna modify, change, remove.
Isn't there sometime money available through them too?
And that's one of the reasons why you have the historic register, is to see if there, like State of South Dakota has a dead wood grant,
Right.
which they take some of the revenue from, legalize gambling and use it for older structures, things like that.
City of Mobridge used that to put that bathroom in Sheer Howe, I think, didn't they?
Yeah, I
believe
think
that
so. So,
So
if you're,
there's definitely some options out there that we can pursue.
I don't think we would have, it would probably just be providing the notice that we're gonna remove the structure, if that's what we're going
And
to
I
do.
don't know if there has to be a public comment, that's kind of what I've seen.
I think possibly, yeah.
Yeah.
It's just, gives you, it's not saying that you can't do something, it's just that you should jump through more hoops before you actually do the removal or alteration or reconstruction.
It was listed on there as a historical asset to the public, that's why they list these things the way they do, so they want you to be able to take more consideration before you do anything with them. And when you do renovations, make sure you're doing them according to the original intent of the structure and whatnot, so.
There is a contact person for our area down there that you
Okay.
do have to contact
Okay,
if you're gonna be doing any changes. I've talked to him before.
I think I have too, so, yeah, I believe I have some email contact there. But,
So you're gonna check.
we'll do a little groundwork on exactly what our options are, and we'll bring it back at the next next meeting, so. I'll look into the Deadwood grant too and see exactly what all that entails. I know part of it is tying back the history of a specific location to Deadwood, because I talked to Christine Goldsmith about it when they were going through the process for the city of Mulbridge, so. They want you to do a little history work with your grant process to kind of tie it back there, so.
Okay, and then we got, Ronnie brought in some posting instructions on this.
There's 3 copies passed in their home.
Then Ryan's got a picture of it here. The way I see this, Ronnie, is, I don't think that you can allow hunting in there just for where your residence is and for the 660-foot.
But that don't go in a circle. Read that other part I just gave you. That only goes kitty from the house.
It does, but
It don't go around the village.
you're still gonna have to post it on that road coming in too. It has to be posted on any road or the right of way. So you're still gonna have to post it on that,
Your radius would then be basically here
right.
and here, if what you're looking, which would still make most of it, you know, unless it's just to the road, and then it would be.
Well, I mean, if they're coming in from the north here
You
though,
don't have to.
Yeah, then your radius, the front of the house is right here.
so you're still gonna have to post it back here too.
Right.
Signs up.
It's gonna make pretty much all of the park
Yeah.
But you have
unaccessible.
signs everywhere.
Plus, you know, the issue really gets complicated with the park lying on private land and being just an easement. I don't think it's a good idea. I think it's a bad idea.
I agree.
To have hunting, you mean?
Yes.
Well, I wouldn't know.
Well,
what
if you
would
look
be.
at where Steph's property lies here, if one of her windows were to get shot out, what's to prevent her from suing the county because we allowed hunting on that easement that we have? You know, if we're the ones that are allowing it. Otherwise, the normal channel being private property, you would have to get permission from that landowner to hunt, and then the landowner would assume the liability for any damages, and I don't, I just,
I think if we just close it all off to hunting and posted it, a sign way on the north end, way on the south end of 293rd Avenue, that would solve all the 660-foot, not only for Ronnie's place, but for Seth's place too.
I just don't see it as being a good idea. I don't know what you think, Jamie, but
It's up to the group on what you want to do with regard to that.
I can't imagine that the county park would be open for hunting. Just a safety issue there. Not because it's within the 660 feet boundary of a farmstead, but it's a public use facility. And we should not be allowed to hunt that.
That would make sense.
Then why has it been hunted for 72 years? And nobody said a thing.
Well, because they're addressing it now.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, now once you can't use it? No, I don't agree with that, and I pay the taxes.
But it's the county's easement that we're talking about to use the property, so.
Is these circles 660 feet from their dwelling place?
yeah, they're 660-foot radius, yes.
The red one's Ronnie's and the green one's Steph's, so.
Steffi within 660 feet of Ronnie's house?
The red one is, yeah.
Really?
But you still can hunt around the lake. If you're out of that 660 feet. Just restricting hunting, in my opinion, restrict the hunting inside the park. But if but you can hunt around the open hunting around the lake.
And that would
if
be
you're-
state anyway, you know,
Yep.
so. That would fall under the state's regulations of non-toxic shot only and lake access regulations.
So that's always been hunted, and that doesn't change.
Well, then, you just go hunt the rest of it. That's my purpose, I let people hunt it.
Well, that's what this group's gotta decide on what they wanna do. I think that's what Kevin's got this on the whole business for, is what you want to do as a group.
I personally don't think it should be hunted. That's just,
If Ronnie doesn't put up safety zone signs around his place, you don't have to eliminate hunters from coming in your yard if you don't want to. Well, if Ronnie doesn't put the safety zone signs up, I would say it'd be accessible.
Yeah, but what if Steph doesn't want it?
Steph don't have them out on her property
Yes,
either.
she does, she has,
Just no hunting.
huh?
She just has no hunting sign.
But that goes, the safety zone goes way into the
Well,
park.
but if she wants to, you gotta get to the safety zone from the game fish and park.
And that's gonna go way inside of the park.
No, because it only goes on, look at the diagram.
I think you need to
No,
think
the
of
one
it,
I
Long
gave.
660 feet.
Doesn't matter, it's 660 feet around her
No,
house.
don't go around the house.
We're getting off task here, guys. The issue is whether you're gonna allow hunting in the park or not.
you gotta think of
That's
it in
where we're
terms of private property. Think of the county easement as private property, and thereby we're giving express permission for anybody to come in there and hunt. Therefore, I think we'd be assuming some liability there.
You are correct.
I'll make the motion that we restrict hunting privileges inside the park.
okay, I got a motion on the floor, I need a second.
I'll second.
Got a second. Any more discussion on that? Hear none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay.
Nay.
I don't want no hunting in the park.
Three to two?
Can I make one comment on the safety zone? I don't think it has to be marked. Everybody knows it. It's kind of like state law, that you cannot shoot within 660 feet. I don't think you have to post it.
Well, and it applies to livestock too, and you're not gonna post everywhere every cow is at, you know,
Yeah.
so it's just a general, it's
I
in
think
law.
everybody knows that. Or should.
I think you can allow a person to shoot within that if you personally give them
If you
permission.
give permission.
Right.
Correct. If I give permission to you to shoot my pasture, my cows, that's fine, but you don't have the right to go in there unless I give you permission to exceed what the law has already established.
I agree.
Is that a fair way to state it?
Oh, I think so. And I don't know how far the easement, the original easement extended, or the intent of the easement extended, you know, so being on private property like that, I just see a lot of complications there.
Any other old business?
I got just the title for the Tahoe. I would ask the commission to authorize Becky to sign that for the title. We won't pay for it till January, but I would like to get the city plates off of it since we are using it.
We are not giving them any money until after the first of the year.
That's correct. And they will not invoice it until then, so.
Do we have to give her, or do you just naturally, do you have to have it on a motion, Becky?
I don't ever sign a title
Okay.
without the board's approval.
Okay, I'll need a motion for that.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, we got a motion on the floor, I need a second.
I'll second.
A second, any more discussion?
I would rather see it not be transferred over until it's paid for. But I guess that's, we're paying the liability, paying for everything anyway, so.
It's on the insurance right now as a rental, isn't it?
Yeah.
And will that make it cheaper, our insurance, whether as a owned vehicle or as a leased vehicle?
You would think.
That's what I would think too, is if we state we own it, our cost for insuring it's gonna be cheaper than if we have it listed as we're renting it and paying
But
for
we're not
it.
gonna actually own it until after the first of the year.
Well, once we sign that, if you authorize the auditor to sign the deed, we own it and we have to pay for it 1st of January. Basically, they're giving us the product for 90 days for free. Because then we pay on because if we go out and tomorrow that vehicle gets totaled, our insurance is gonna pay for that vehicle. Or if we authorize the auditor to sign that transfer document of the title, we own it, and if we don't put insurance on it, and we total it out, that's our loss. If we put insurance on it, which we would do, then that payee is going to be us, subject to paying them for the purchase price of the vehicle.
It seemed to me that the intent is to own that vehicle.
Correct?
We pay the insurance, we have the responsibility for it, we should sign the title. The payment is a different and separate matter, we pay after the 1st of the year.
Correct.
It was just for the budget.
Yeah. It's just where the money, when the money is going to be paid, and as long as the city of Selby is in agreement that we take it out of 2017 budget, which that's my understanding is, all the way through this whole process is, City of Selby has agreed to let us have it, basically for no cost until 2017 comes around, and then we pay the purchase price that we've already agreed to with the City of Selby after the 1st of the year out of the 2017 budget.
That's correct.
We
and that
have
was
possession and ownership.
We have possession right now. Once the title's signed, we have ownership. And I would think that the insurance would be cheaper to keep it insured as a owned vehicle rather than as a lease. And the payee on who would be paid if there's damages will change to the city of, or to Walworth County then from the city of Selby.
Okay, we got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
And this, what is the motion?
To authorize the auditor to sign the transfer document.
I agree.
Opposed, say nay.
Nay.
Motion passed. Any other old business?
I'd like to bring the motion that was made back in March off the table. Let's deal with it. I made the motion back then that asking the state's attorney to notify the assessor that we intend to have a hearing. And I think it was called a termination hearing. I don't know if that's right, proper, or not. So I want to bring that off the table and deal with it.
So we have two issues then. First, we gotta bring it off the table, and then the second would be to act on a motion. So you have, first have a motion to bring it off the table.
I'll make the motion to bring it off the table.
Okay, I got a motion on the floor. I need a second.
I'll second.
Got a second. Any more discussion? Hear none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay.
Nay.
I will vote aye. Okay, what's the next motion has to be?
So the motion is back on the table then, and then you would have to ask that, cause we're gonna have to look at the minutes to see what the last original motion was, so we get it exactly worded right for the record. We probably have, do you remember what meeting that was?
March 22nd. But the motion was made and seconded.
Okay, but I wanna make sure we get that exact motion worded the exact same way, so we don't have an error there. We'll have to take the March 22nd meeting minutes, make sure that the motion is exactly the same as what it was before to be voted on.
It was the 22nd of March.
was Martin moved to direct state's attorney to notify call in writing and follow through with the termination hearing. Bogart second. And Hauck made a substitute motion to postpone the termination hearing indefinitely. You ready to read on?
No, so basically, if you want to re-request that motion, that would be the exact same motion that you would make, to do it properly.
Could that be amended to change it from termination to just a hearing? Leave
Well,
termination out or wasn't termination?
Basically, the statute lays out how the process is supposed to go. And you need to make sure that you word everything correctly in your motion. And that was one of the big issues that we were coming up, making sure we did everything properly. So I would assume that any motion is subject to amendment, change, or whatever, but right now you have to have, if that's where you want it to go, is to make that same motion. That motion would then have to require a second, and there would be discussion, and there would be a vote on that motion. Or subject to amendment, change, or whatever, yes. That would be the proper process.
It can still go under old business and not be on the agenda. Is that
Well,
correct?
you guys have agreed to bring it off the table, so it's off the
I know.
table. If you did not want to bring it off the table, you should have voted to leave it off the table. But the vote was to bring it back onto the table, so now it's on.
Now, do we need to make another motion?
Yes,
The motion that we made is off the table.
correct, you need to you need to make a new motion, because that one was tabled. So you would want to, let's get this perfectly right. You would want to bring, because that motion was moved, and we read that for me again, please, Commissioner Schilling. The motion was made by Hauck to table it, correct?
Indefinitely.
Indefinitely. So now that motion is brought back on the table, so I don't think it needs to be remade.
It was made and seconded.
Correct. So now we're back on the discussion phase.
And the vote.
Correct.
The motion is there.
Hmm?
On that motion, the vote is done.
The voting's done on that motion, on the first motion. Jamie said there's gotta be a second.
Well, no,
No.
we brought it back. It was indefinitely, after we read that,
Mhm.
and my thinking is that motion was tabled indefinitely, basically. It was taken off indefinitely. So then you made the motion in old business to bring that motion back on. So there was a vote made to bring that back on, and so now that motion is back on the table. It's already been made and seconded. And so now we're back on the discussion phase.
I would like to make an amendment to that where it's not a termination hearing, it's a, what would you call it? It's not necessarily a termination hearing, a hearing for findings.
Well, I think that's what the statute sets out, that you have to provide give the individual notice that you are, because she's an employee that's appointed by the county. You have to go through certain steps if you're going to remove that employee as a,
Could it just be a disciplinary hearing?
then you wouldn't even go that route. It'd be a whole different separate animal.
Okay.
My feeling on this thing is that it's a hearing to determine if there's enough
Correct,
to terminate an employee.
correct,
And it's nothing more than a hearing.
correct,
Now, you may find that there isn't, and you may find that there is.
correct.
But at least you have the hearing, and everybody's voice then is heard. So what can that hurt? Why would we not want that hearing? If I feel that there's enough information there, or enough to warrant termination, and the rest of you don't, you say that at the hearing.
And basically and this is off my refresh memory, when we spoke with the individuals at the county association, that this is the right way to go, but this would occur in executive session. And that council would be allowed to be present, the employee would be allowed to be present, but the actual hearing itself would be in executive session. And that's what my memory
Correct.
tells me, is that that's how it would work, but you still have to give that notice.
And the executive session is closed to the public, and there cannot be any violation. There's no record of it. So you.
Correct.
You speak freely, you give your reasons or for, pro or con, and it's contained within this room. We've been schooled on that for 6 months.
But the employee end is allowed to have counsel.
But not to talk out of, after the hearing is complete, it's over with.
Once you
Nobody
come out
talks.
of that hearing, then you would make your decision on whether.
Nobody leaks information.
Correct.
There's no record of it, and that's what it's for. So why would anybody object to that hearing?
I think it's about time we get this done and over with, listen to the facts and make a determination one way or another so we can finally move on from this one way or another.
I agree.
So then we're set.
So now what the next, ask for further discussion and ask for a vote.
There's no motion, yeah.
But you moved to bring that issue back
That's
off the
been voted
table.
on.
And then they voted.
And that was voted on to bring it off the table. So now the motion's back on the table. And it's already been seconded.
It's the same motion as what you got in front of you.
Oh, so we're just.
It's the
Yep.
same exact motion.
So we're at the point where we discuss it if you choose to, or we vote.
And once discussion is done, then you call for your vote like you normally would.
So are we amending this, being as we brought this motion back on the table, is it being amended to
No, because the only thing that
same as it says
Commissioner,
right here?
that's why I had you do that, to make sure we had it all right. Because if it was a different motion, a new motion would have to be made, and so. So we as clear as mud? Or do we have
So
any,
this is
because
just
now's the
put on
time
the
to get
agenda
it.
for next month,
Pardon?
next meeting.
No, we vote on it now.
Right now, that's where we're back at to. You guys can do, you vote on it, you could table it, you could do
We're just
absolutely
voting on whether we're
nothing.
gonna have a hearing or not.
Yeah, we're back to square one now, where we were in March. We're back to square one.
Whether we're gonna have a hearing or not.
I'll take a motion for that,
We already have the motion.
And second.
but
Martin and Holgard,
to discuss. That already passed.
The motion to table did.
this is, this motion. It's back up, now it needs to be voted on.
Because it's already been
Martin moved and Holgard seconded.
correct.
Okay.
So now we're at the discussion phase. And then, once the discussion is done, then the chair would call for a vote. Or whatever you do.
I've expressed my opinion, and that is that what can it hurt to listen to everybody's pros and cons? And whatever comes out of that meeting is, should be accepted by everyone.
Well, I agree with Kevin, we gotta get past this, so we don't have to worry talking about this every single month.
I say we have a vote.
I'll do a roll call vote. Kevin,
Aye.
Dwayne,
Aye.
Jim,
Nay.
They,
I'm gonna vote aye.
So what's gonna happen now?
We have a hearing.
So we provide notice. There's an amount of time that you have to have elapsed, so I'll have to check to make sure that our next meeting is beyond that time, and I can't remember if it's 10 or 15 days. And basically, you authorize the state's attorney to start that process, to schedule the hearing, and provide notice to everyone that needs to be given notice.
And I would suggest we have a special meeting to do that.
You're right. I would think that
And
rather than
as soon as possible.
within the statutory time, there is a certain amount of notice time we have to give.
Yes.
What we'll probably do is then, I can't remember whether it's 10 or 15 days, I don't know off the top of my head. And then I would definitely do it as a special meeting posted, because we don't know how long it's gonna take. And address that specific issue, or you can address it in the meeting, it's up to you guys.
But I think you need to give that written notice today. You
Yeah, that
To
would
those
start the
people
clock,
that are-
yes, we have to do that today.
start the clock.
Because if we waited a week, it wouldn't start the clock for a week, so. If you want me to do it today, that's fine.
Any other old business? New business? Hearing none, I take a motion to adjourn.
I'll make motion to adjourn.
I'll second it.
Motion on the floor in a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, so,